Hi everybody, Miss Rachie here with another story for you. And this next story I wanted to dedicate to my mom, mostly because when I was younger, she is the one who taught me how to read, who helped me to fall in love with reading. And she always had these stories that she would talk about, and they were called the Little House on the Prairie stories. And this is so fun because I found this next book at my library. It's called The County Fair by Laura Ingalls Wilder, and it's one of these stories about this family that lives on a prairie and goes to the fair. So I so hope you enjoy reading this story all about Alfonso and his pumpkin, and maybe he wins the contest at the fair and maybe he doesn't. But I hope that you'll read it with me to find out. County Fair. Once upon a time, a little boy named Almanzo lived in a farmhouse in the New York State countryside. He lived with his father, his mother, his big brother Royal, his two big sisters, Eliza Jane and Alice. Early one morning, they all set out for the county fair. Father placed under the buggy seat the box of pickles and preserved and jellies that Eliza Jane and Alice had made. Alice was taking her wool work embroidery too, but Almanzo's pumpkin had gone to the fair the day before in the wagon. It was too big to fit in the buggy. Those are really cute horses, aren't they? The roads were filled with people in their best clothes, all going to the fair. Mother and Royal and the girls got out of the buggy at the fairgrounds, but Almanzo rode on with Father to the sheds and helped unhitch the horses. Wow, there's lots of tents. Those are so cool. Can you guys see those? Look at all the fair. It's called the Franklin County Fair. Looks like so much fun. Almanzo wanted to see the animals first. He and Father went past the tall grandstand and the church building where Mother and the girls were helping to prepare dinner. Everywhere men were shouting, "Step this way, only 10 cents, and prizes for all." Look at this, selling oranges. Finally, Almanzo and Father reached the stock sheds. In one stall were 3 large gray horses. Their necks were thick and their heads were large, but their eyes were quiet and kind. Almanzo felt important and grown up talking horses with Father. Next to the horses, there was a crowd of men and boys around a stall. Not even Father could see what was in it. Almanzo squeezed between the legs until he came to the bars of the stall. Inside it were 2 black creatures he had never seen before. They were something like horses, but they were not horses. Their ears were like rabbit ears, and their tails were almost bare. Do you know what kind of animal that is? I think I might know. While Almanzo stared, one of those creatures pointed its ears at him and stretched out its neck and roared, "Ee-yaw, ee-yaw." Almanzo yelled and hurried back to Father. "It's only a mule, son," Father said, "and you're not the only one who is scared either." Almanzo and Father looked at the cattle and the young steers and the sturdy oxen. They looked at the big white hogs and the smaller black hogs. Then they looked at sheep. Almanzo had not seen his pumpkin yet, but it was time to eat, and Almanzo was hungry. How cute this is. Look, they got a horse and some sheep and some cows over here. So cool to see all those animals. The church dining room was already crowded. Everyone was talking and laughing, but Almanzo just ate. He ate ham and chicken and turkey. He ate potatoes and gravy, succotash, baked beans and onions and bread. He ate pumpkin pie and custard pie and vinegar pie. There were berry pies and cream pies and raisin pies, but he could not eat one bite more. At last it was time for the pumpkins to be judged. Almanzo saw at once that his pumpkin was the largest of them all. He tried not to care too much about the prize, but he wished everyone knew that the biggest pumpkin was his. Looks like there's a judge looking at all the sizes of the pumpkins. The biggest judge took one pumpkin and cut a slice out of it. Then the judge cut open another pumpkin. Finally, he cut open Almanzo's own big pumpkin. All the judges looked carefully at the pumpkin slices. They tasted one slice and then another. Almanzo could hardly breathe. Finally, the tall judge took a blue ribbon out of his pocket. He stretched out his arm slowly and then pinned the ribbon to Almanzo's pumpkin. Father's hand clapped on Almanzo's shoulder. All at once, Almanzo could breathe and he was tingling all over. All the judges were smiling, and ever so many people said, "That's a fine pumpkin, Almanzo." Afterward, Almanzo went walking with father through the fair. They watched the foot races and the jumping contests and the throwing contests. The boys from town were all in the contests, but the farmer boys won almost every time. Almanzo kept remembering his prize pumpkin and feeling good. Driving home that night, they all felt good. Alice's wool work had won first prize, and Eliza Jane had a red ribbon for her pickles and preserves, and Alice had a blue ribbon for her jellies. Father said the Wilder family had done itself proud that day. Almanzo was the proudest of all. The end. That was so fun to read together. I hoped you loved meeting Alfonso and his family and reading the story with me. If you liked this story, maybe you want more Little House on the Prairie books, please like this video, please subscribe, and we will see you next time.